Ready to race. Good morning, YouTubers and friends. Happy days. A wet day, still a happy day. Doesn't have to be miserable. When people talk about the weather, they always say, "Oh, it's miserable, isn't it?" It's a really fatalistic sort of approach, isn't it? Really, it doesn't have any emotion attached to it at all. It's just rain. And after all, if it didn't rain, we'd all die. She'd be happy it's raining. You know. It's sunny. People say, "Oh, it's a lovely day, isn't it?" It's just sunshine, really, isn't it? It's just sunshine. People always have to do this association of things are good and things are bad. It's quite bizarre when you start to look at it. Really, it's just phenomena. Don't have to attach anything to it. You know, it's raining. We are very fortunate. We've got all the gears waterproof. We have a waterproof skin at the end of the day. We might get a little bit cold, but we're not going to die. And we can make the best out of a situation because we can adapt. We're adaptable and flexible. You know, have a flexible approach to life. I think it makes allows us to be a lot happier. And also, we don't have to be so dependent on external influences for our happiness and well-being. Yep. It's good, Mark. He always waits for me. Not that he's had to wait very much, to be honest. Sometimes we might get split up by a truck or traffic diversion, traffic lights, etc. The dog was going to chase me. Scared. Yeah. A few thoughts that just sprang to mind. And also, you know, it can actually look quite beautiful, can't it? You know, look at the low slung cloud over those mountain tops. It gives it a perspective. Quite beautiful, actually. I think you lose colour in the low light. Of course, when it's bright sunshine, it highlights colour more green, more blue, so forth. More contrast. And this is what it is, isn't it? And the beauty about when the weather's not so good, there I am using those euphemisms, is that you know for certain that it's always going to change. The beauty of change. Oh, the road blocked. I can do this, put the foot down. How's that? You know, it's like change is a thing that we're often so afraid of, but it can be our best friend. For instance, when you're ill or feeling low, depressed, I sort of think, okay, it's just how it is at the moment, rather than trying to change it. And I know with certainty that things change. You cannot stop that, so we can embrace that and say, this low point in my life, or this illness, or this negative state of mind, or the suffering that I'm experiencing won't last. You know, that's so wonderful. But at the same time, I think you know, it also works in the opposite direction, the opposite way, when things that are going well. We're experiencing good health. We're in a healthy, happy state of mind, positive attitudes, or that life in general is just going right for us, which it so often does. You can appreciate it, but also I think when you know that change is inevitable and you embrace that concept, you also have to understand and realise that it's so futile to try and hang on to it. Which changes the info settings on bike a minute. Reset trip. You know, so you have to sort of be looser, I think, more looser, more relaxed about things, and just allow things to arise and allow them to pass away, and we becomes more of a journey of souls than and an experience, rather than something that we can grip onto, possess. It has no solidity, you know. The same with the sense of self. You know, we are so changeable, aren't we, as human beings? Ups and downs and a million states of mind that we experience. Which one could you call self? It's like bizarre. When we try to have like a fixed opinion of how we are. It's interesting, isn't it? I think in dream state, when we're dreaming, we can lose all concept of identity completely, and have not all the time, but sometimes we have no concept of this reality that we're in right now at all. Doesn't exist. And you can experience a completely different perspective, and it seems at the time so realistic. For instance, last night I was dreaming that I was part of a group. It felt like a sort of Sangha experience that we'd all experienced some real deep emotional, physical trauma together, and as a result we were really bonded. And that particular episode had come to an end, and we were on a coach and we were about to go to London, and we knew things were going to change and not be the same again, and I felt this deep sense of profound sadness because of that I was going to miss these people that I'd actually never met before. How bizarre is that? But you know, within the dream I also had memories of all our previous experiences together. How profound. I had no idea about this reality. I didn't even know about the bike. I wasn't even Nicholas Shuttler. I think sometimes you can even experience yourself being another sex in dreams. So that's how easy it is to let go of identity. It doesn't hurt. It sort of brings a richness as well to our lives, doesn't it? You know, to be able to experience something from a completely different perspective, not from a fixed point of view, like I am Nicholas Shuttler, carpenter, husband of Heidi, father of Nick and Kane, rider of a KTM motorcycle. You know, you can let all that go and suffer no bad consequences. And I think that's probably what it is like when we pass on from this dimension. You know, I think we probably forget a lot of the details, maybe all the details, but I think you can take core experience. I think that remains. I think your state of evolution remains. And evolution, I don't mean intellectually or anything like that, because I think intellect is of the brain. Perhaps some traits like your emotional traits, maybe your The amount of love that has evolved in you, perhaps, unconditional love, the amount of softness in your heart that you embraced, I think we can take that with us. A lot of the Dharma teachings, and which is basically about truth, it's not about any particular belief system, it's about waking up to certain realities, I often do take with me in my dream state, so that I remember I was having a conversation with someone recently in my dream, and I was recommending that they be brave like a warrior. I said not in a way of aggression, but in a way of strength, of being brave in leaning into and experiencing your own deep emotional states and self, discovering self. This is what a lot of us we shy away from. We immerse ourselves in the exterior physical world, external pursuits and pleasures. It's all just a distraction, really, you know. I enjoy this, you know, motorcycling I love. It's great, but it's not the be all and end all, it's just a pastime. The real journey is I don't know really, it's very difficult to explain and to sum up with words. I think it's about realising the futility of attaching to self, ego, and I think it's about the journey of embracing the reality of the connections that exist between us. And I think when you start to do those two things, sense of self evaporates, becomes thinner and thinner, and your idea of who you are changes. It becomes more open, aerated, and includes all things. It's more of a God, I can't really describe it. I don't know. You have to try it. Meditation is the key. You know, self-reflection is the key. Practice is the key. It's not something that you can understand by reading a book or listening to me yapping on. Well, I think these are just pointers, but they have to be experienced rather than just understood in an intellectual capacity. That can be the first step, but it doesn't take you there. And then it has to be fortified with practice. You know, and it's a thing that I will be doing for the rest of my life here on Earth, and probably beyond. Continue. It's a continuous process of unfoldment, I think. That's a nice word, unfoldments. It sort of suggests unfolding processes about opening up and spreading out rather than becoming condensed, compounded, insular and isolated. Yeah, I like that expression. That really is a nice pointer.